Welcome back. We are turning our attention to a highly contentious press briefing that took place earlier today regarding the ongoing federal enforcement operations in Minnesota. The press corps wasted no time pressing the secretary on reports that people on the street were being asked to provide proof of citizenship. A reporter asked directly if this constituted targeted enforcement and whether the administration is now advising Americans to carry proof of citizenship with them. In response, the secretary clarified that every situation involves targeted enforcement. She explained that during an operation on a specific target, individuals surrounding that criminal may be asked to identify themselves and validate why they are there. She insisted this is standard procedure to ensure officer safety and to know who is in the immediate surroundings, adding that if those individuals are found to be breaking federal laws, they will also be detained until the process is run. The questioning then shifted to the volatility on the ground. Reporters asked if there were plans to pull federal agents out of Minnesota and how the secretary would describe the scene, specifically asking if she viewed it as an insurrection and if the president should invoke the Insurrection Act. The secretary described the situation as violent and a violation of the law in many places. She revealed that she had discussed the Insurrection Act with the president just this morning, confirming that he certainly has the constitutional authority to utilize it. However, she pivoted the conversation to the local leadership, expressing hope that Governor Walz's team would start working with federal agents. She detailed that the surge in operations was due to the largest fraud scheme in American history, alleging that individuals, specifically citing the Somali community, stole funds meant for vulnerable people needing mental health and autism services, enriching themselves right under the governor's nose. When asked if she believed ICE agents in Minnesota had gone too far, the secretary staunchly defended her officers. She stated they are following the law and their training. She highlighted a specific incident from the previous night where three individuals allegedly weaponized shovels and brooms to attack an ICE officer who was forced to defend himself. She emphasized her hope that violent rioters would be held accountable so that federal officers could perform their duties safely. The press also requested an update on vehicles that had been compromised in the area. The secretary clarified that those were FBI vehicles, not Department of Homeland Security assets, so she couldn't speak to what documents might have been taken. However, she did confirm that an agent had been beaten and bruised, was currently receiving treatment, and that the department was thankful he made it out alive. The briefing became heated when a reporter asked if the secretary was comfortable with agents potentially violating Fourth Amendment rights by asking for papers without reasonable suspicion. The secretary rejected the premise, asserting that every action taken by ICE officers is according to the law and follows protocols used by both this administration and previous ones. She noted that these tactics have been proven correct in court litigation repeatedly. When pressed further on whether she actually recommended the Insurrection Act to the president, she clarified that they merely discussed it as a constitutional option, while affirming that operations in Minneapolis would continue with the necessary resources to get the job done. Shifting gears to international waters, the secretary was asked about the Coast Guard's tracking of loose tankers and ships coming out of the Caribbean. While she could not give specific operational details, she confirmed they are watching the entire shadow community. She expressed pride in the Coast Guard's partnership with the Department of War to bring jurisdiction over ships that are often unflagged or affiliated with countries moving unauthorized oil to avoid sanctions. She confirmed that she shares operational footage with the president daily, noting that between the Coast Guard's work and law enforcement operations across the country, the department remains incredibly busy. Returning to the issue of citizenship checks, a reporter followed up, asking again why Americans in Minnesota were being stopped and if the official advice is now to carry papers. The secretary reiterated that when they are on a target, they secure the perimeter, which involves validating the identities of those surrounding a criminal. The conversation then looped back to the potential for an insurrection. The secretary stated that while the president has the right to invoke the act, the current situation on the streets won't get safer if the local leadership doesn't change its approach. She drew a sharp contrast between Governor Walz and the governors of Louisiana and Florida, noting that in those states, identical operations were run successfully and peacefully because local leadership cooperated to remove dangerous criminals from the streets. Finally, the secretary addressed the caliber of the officers involved, describing them as highly trained professionals going after murderers, gang members, and terrorists. She took a strong political stance, explicitly blaming the Biden administration for allowing 20 million people to enter the country unvetted. She described her daily burden of worrying about known and suspected terrorists, pedophiles, and criminals currently on American streets due to open borders. She praised President Trump for being strong in taking action and following through on commitments. When asked if the president had a final straw that would trigger the Insurrection Act, she explained that he makes fully informed decisions based on intelligence from her, local police, and agents he knows personally. The briefing concluded with a question about a White House meeting regarding illegal immigration from Venezuela. The secretary noted she would not be attending due to the swearing-in ceremony for the new commandant of the Coast Guard and other law enforcement meetings, but assured the press that the president would keep them informed.